A Marshall meltdown. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Shaking the computer a little bit. Let's see if we can line this up a little bit better. It's on books. It's not even. It shakes when I move it along. Okay. Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Sunbelt. Dave Schultz, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. All right, we will recap all of the Sunbelt action. Eventually, I'm going to get to not only, right, we talked about game management. Sometimes that falls on the players. That may be later on in the week. But ULM won. We'll talk about that. Bobcats won. Cajuns won. ODU won. And Georgia Southern won. Unbelievable, as Saturday night may have been the best night of the college football season thus far. So you can only watch so much football, and I got to get up on a Sunday morning to get to my full-time job. So went to bed following, I think, LSU and Ole Miss, but I got to overtime. I didn't watch it because that could go on forever as far as I'm concerned. But we were watching at my brother's, the Syracuse ball game, of course. But I had on Texas State on the computer, had the Cajuns on, and I had Marshall and Georgia Southern on. And every time I looked at Marshall, Georgia Southern, Marshall was in complete control. So apparently I did not go back and look before I went to bed late on Saturday night. By the way, I don't know if anybody noticed, but that line changed. Remember, it was 2.5. Marshall was favored by 2.5, which at one point looked like, oh my goodness. And then it got down to 1.5. And then it got to 1, Georgia Southern favored by. And then the last I saw, it finished at 1.5. Ouch, if you took that late. Nonetheless. All right, so let's talk about this ball game because Charles Huff getting a lot of grief. You guys can tell me whether it's well-deserved or not, but he played both quarterbacks. Stone Earl got off to a little bit of a shaky start, kicking a lot of field goals, and then Braylon Braxton came in and started leading them to touchdowns. And I want to make sure I get this because I did wake up Sunday morning to watch the fourth quarter, okay? Because it was 23-3, and it was with, let's see here. This is not in order on ESPN.com, but it was 23-3 with about 11 minutes. Oh, that's the third quarter. About 11 minutes left. This is actually after the safety. All right, I got to move on. All right, and after the touchdown, right? So it's 23-3 in the third quarter. But then they get the safety, and I don't know why we're throwing in the end zone. Can we just get it out of the end zone, take our 2 minutes, run it 3 times, and punt it away? All right, but that's not what happened. But nonetheless, having said all that, and Georgia Southern scores a touchdown, making it 23-11, Marshall went 3 and out, and then Georgia Southern went 3 and out. And so Marshall has the ball first down and 10 at their own 45-yard line. They're at midfield. They are up by 12 with 4:18 to go. How did they lose this football game? They had Braylon Braxton with a fumble, and then Georgia Southern with a touchdown. A couple plays later, after that, another Braylon Braxton fumble, and that led to the winning score. How much of that is Charles Huff's fault? Running back was getting a lot of yardage, is what I'm told. Let's see. A.J. Turner was averaging almost 7 yards a carry, 6.9 yards a carry. But I am, as a football fan, always concerned about the handoff or the transition. You had your running quarterback fumble it twice. Once, the second time, after a holding penalty, when he got a big-time gain. that basically would have ended the ball game. And even after the running play, or the holding penalty, I should say, and it was with the running play got it down to 2 minutes. So I'm like, I didn't look at the play-by-play totally. I just remembered fumbles and interceptions and stuff like that. And so I'm like, he doesn't throw the ball on 2nd and 17, right? Because we may be out of field goal range, but we're going to run the ball with a 2-minute warning, 2-minute timeout, and that's going to take 5 seconds. And then they're going to call their final timeout. But then on 3rd down, we get to run it again, and that'll take 5 seconds. That's 1:50. And then we don't have to punt it or kick a field goal until it's 1:10. And so they'll get it with about a minute to go. Whether you make a field goal or not from that distance, I don't know. But that was a crazy football game. Even the announcers, Lowell Galindo and Fuzzy Whitaker, I think Lowell used to be with the Big Ten Network, or maybe not. No, I'm sorry, with the Longhorn Network. He was with the Longhorn Network. And I'm not sure who Fuzzy Whitaker is, but I thought they were doing a great job. When I found it on Sunday morning, he's like, this is what the Sun Belt or the Fun Belt is all about. And then we had the winning touchdown where Williams finds Burgess for the winning score down the right sideline. Can't fumble the football. They fumbled it twice. You got to protect the ball. I mean, is that coaching? Is that a coaching decision? I mean, somewhere along the way, the players have to take responsibility, right? Because we have a whole lot of coaching issues, to be honest with you, in some other realms. But I'm not sure it's in this case. It was an amazing victory by Georgia Southern. I hope to have Clay Helton on this week because he's seen as much football as anybody. I'm not sure he can remember a ball game like that, right? Lowell Galindo goes, this was not a game until it was a game. And with 4 minutes and 18 seconds left to go at Marshall in midfield with the football, it wasn't a football game. And then it turned out to be a football game. Crazy, crazy situation. Georgia Southern with a victory. They get JMU next week, another Sun Belt East showdown, or this week is the case may be. And we'll see what happens there. All right, the other big ball game. Well, we had a couple other big ball games. The one that went a little bit like I thought it would was the ULM Southern Miss ball game. That line actually got down. What was it? Wasn't it like 6.5? I thought it was 7 at one point in time. Got down to 5.5. Did take ULM in that ball game. And again, poor Southern Miss. Things just can't go their way. Right there, they get an interception and they got a ticky-tack pass interference call. The lineman or the sideline referee, can't see when the interception was made compared to the pass interference, which was a love tap at best. And people who've listened to my radio show and this podcast know I despise defensive pass interference. I despise defensive pass interference. And that was as ticky-tacky as it can get. And, they fumble the football and, they end up losing it. And another situation, the Cajuns ended up fumbling the football and they recover it, right? Different ball game. But it just seemed like Southern Miss could not catch a break. And then all of a sudden, you got the explosiveness of the ULM offense. Did not see that coming. One of the bets I did not take was the over-under of this game. It's like, oh, this has got underwritten all over it. Southern Miss has got a good defense. ULM has trouble scoring. And ULM did not have trouble scoring this ball game, putting up 38 points. The over-under was like 40.5. ULM almost did it at the end. Southern Miss with a garbage touchdown at the end of the ball game. This was all ULM. Aidan Armenta coming along, 10 of 17, 188 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also had a big run, a touchdown run, 43-yard touchdown run at that. Ahmad Hardy, the true freshman, 15 carries, 121 yards, 2 touchdowns, 8 yards per carry. He was outstanding. Also caught 53, 2 catches for 53 yards. And again, ULM is going to have Texas State and the Cajuns at home. They do have to go at South Alabama and at Marshall. All right. Despite what just happened, those will not be the 2 easiest games of the season for ULM, but they are 5-1 overall as predicted, at least heading into the week, and 3-0 in the Sun Belt. For some reason, they're sitting in second in the Sun Belt standings. I don't know why in the Sun Belt West standings, but they should be atop the Sun Belt West standings because they're 3-0 and the Cajuns are 2-0. And both teams are 5-1. But congratulations to Brian Vincent. And, he's got this machine rolling in the right direction. I may have mentioned to somebody, do not let Aidan Armenta, talk you into doing the Philly special because he showed he had a few wheels. Just keep on doing what you're doing. And, who knows what it could be. It could be a huge, huge season for ULM. So a rather easy win for the Warhawks. Haven't had too many of those over the years. And even, the JMU ball game and the Troy ball game were not all, we're very close. We're not blowouts by any stretch of imagination. UAB, we find out, isn't all that good, is what we found out. But that was a nice win, comfortable win for ULM, second game of the season. All right, let's take a time out. We'll come back. Bobcats kind of flex their muscle. They take down the Red Wolves. Schultz got that one right. We'll do that right after I tell you about LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. Right now, 2.5 million small businesses are using LinkedIn for hiring. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Texas State, this one we got right. We thought that Texas State would be too much for Arkansas State, and they were. For whatever reason, Arkansas State having trouble scoring, did not put up a touchdown in this ball game. Jalen Rayner, 24-38, 207 yards, and an interception. It was a relatively close ball game at half. It was just 17-9 at half. And then Texas State put up 24 unanswered points for a 41-9 rout. Jordan McLeod, what a ball game. 24 of 29, 320 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He did run 5 times for 29 yards and a touchdown. Ishmail Mahdi has joined the party. 17 carries for 164 yards, although he did not score. And Joey Hobart had 10 catches, 101 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Cole Wilson did catch a 53-yard touchdown pass as well. It was really all Texas State. Arkansas State hasn't really figured it out this year. They do have some nice close wins, but this being in San Marcos, this being 1 year after Arkansas State put 77 points up against Texas State, I didn't think it'd be very close. That may be the best ball game that Texas State has played this year, period, end of story. Let me know what you guys think. Texas State with almost 600 yards of offense, 591, almost 300 yards of rushing, 271. They gave up less than 400 yards total. That's outstanding. They forced 2 turnovers. They didn't commit any turnovers. They had the ball for 10 more minutes than Arkansas State. It was a one-sided affair, especially in the second half. So Texas State improves to 2-0 in the conference. Arkansas State drops to 1-1 in the conference. Texas State 4-2. Arkansas State is 3-3. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Cajuns with a workmanlike win, 34-24. I'm not sure what's going on with the Cajuns. I really don't. They were defensively, some people use this as an excuse. I see it as a reason. I think they've gotten better defensively or have recovered from the Cortland Flowers mess, right? Got suspended, thrown off the team right before the Tulane game. Didn't play well against Tulane, didn't play well against Wake, but did really well against Southern Miss. And, they forced, 5 turnovers against App? Yeah, 5 turnovers against App. That's outstanding. All right. And without those turnovers, they don't win the football game. I'm not sure what the Cajuns are trying to do offensively. They got outgained by App 401-366. Ben Wooldridge was a nondescript 14 out of 23, threw an interception when he shouldn't have been throwing the football at all. Each team ran for almost 170 yards. Cajuns 168, App 165, both of them about a 5-yard average. 5-yard average. So let's go back. And I will say I had the Cajuns plus 10. It was 10.5, but I got it plus 10 or minus 10. And they're part of the parlay. So this is what I did not understand. Okay. The Cajuns were up by, goodness gracious, they had a chance to put this away in the second half and couldn't do it. They come out, they're up 17-14. They go 3 and out. App State makes it ties the ball game up at 17-all. Cajuns get a field goal and go up 20-17. Then App State fumbles, and the Cajuns, one play, touchdown, 27-17. Then App State throws an interception. Cajuns go 3 and out. App State works their way down for a touchdown, makes it a 3-point game again, 27-24. This drove me nuts, and I didn't understand it, all right? 1st and 10, it's 8 minutes left to go in the game. Forget about covering. Just see if the Cajuns can win. Ben Wooldridge pass incomplete. Why are we passing on 1st and 10? Ben Wooldridge runs for 5 yards, which I think was a designed run. And then Ben Wooldridge on 3rd and 5, pass complete to Robert Williams for 7 yards, 1st down. Now 2 more minutes are coming off the clock. We're getting down to 5 minutes. All right. 1st down and 10. Draylen Washington, 14 yards. Another 1st down. They're out to the UL 46-yard line. 5:45 to go. They're looking for a home run ball. Why are we throwing it up for grabs down the left side? Interception. Jordan Favors. Nice catch. The only reason that it didn't get any closer than 3 is because App State threw another interception. And the Cajuns went in and scored a touchdown. Again, you guys know I'm all about win and move on. I don't understand what the Cajuns are trying to accomplish offensively. When you get 5 turnovers and turn the ball over once and you win by 10, something is off. That should have been, I don't know, about a 41-9 ball game, but certainly should have been, you got to put up more points on the board. You got to take advantage of the turnovers. And they just could not. Basically, every time the Cajuns every time App State tried to give the game to the Cajuns wouldn't take it. I just didn't understand it. I don't know. So remember I said a couple of weeks ago, if Texas State, like when they play Troy, thinks they're going to compete against ULM or the Cajuns got to play better. They have not played a very good ball game since the Wake game, I don't think. At least offensively. I'm just not sure what they're trying to do offensively. They are as balanced, as explosive as anybody in the conference, and they're not showing it. I don't get it. So there's something is a little bit off right now with the Cajuns. They are off along with Texas State. Is that right? Am I off a week? Let me see here. No. Okay. So no, the Cajuns actually are going to Coastal this week. Texas State is at Old Dominion, oddly enough. And then they get the following Saturday off. They get a nationally televised ball game on a Tuesday. That's going to be a great football game. That could be for the Sun Belt West title. We'll see. ULM certainly should have something to say about it. but it is a couple of games down the road. Cajuns are going to have to be sharper if they're going to beat Texas State. They were not very sharp against App State. And I'll give credit to App State. I need to do that as well. App State, I thought, outside of the 5 turnovers, gave the Cajuns all they could handle. They did. That I don't mind doing that. Some of the way the Cajuns played has to do with App State. Caden Robinson's really good. He was trying to tell him to keep on throwing it to him. 7 receptions, 96 yards. He was good. Cajuns, though, are just something's off, and yet they're 5-1 and a half a game out of first place in the Sun Belt West. All right, let's take a timeout. We will do Old Dominion and Georgia State when we get back. I guess that's the last one. And then we'll talk some game management with players. And I don't think there's specific players I had in mind, but just generally speaking. We will do that after I tell you about Game Time. Game Time has a new feature. It's called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Game Time, you can get these priority Game Time Picks. Curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. Then you get the all-in pricing. Toggling this feature shows the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. You get those seat views, the panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy, and then you have the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Plus, you get that Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, LOCKEDONCollege, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. ODU with a victory, a 1-score victory. What a shock. Old Dominion 21, Georgia State 14. Colton Joseph, okay, 14 out of 23, same numbers as Ben Woldridge. 141 yards, a touchdown, interception. Does run it 11 times for 98 yards as well. Maybe the bloom is off the rose a little bit for Georgia State. Have not been able to follow up that victory against Vandy. Remember, they were 2-1 after Vanderbilt, and they lost at home to Georgia Southern. They lost at home to Old Dominion. Now they're going to at Marshall, at App State, at UConn, and at James Madison. They get a home game against Arkansas State. Then they're on the road again to Texas State and Coastal Carolina. To be honest with you, I'm a little bit disappointed that Georgia State didn't finish stronger having the first 5 games at home, including an off week and not leaving the city of Atlanta. We spoke about that endlessly. Having a home game against Georgia Tech and not having a true road game, if you will, until this coming week. They need to be a little bit better. At the same time, we've talked about this as well, because Del McGee is doing a great job of recruiting. That doesn't mean that conveys towards what's happening on the field now, right? So there's a building process to it. There is learning how to win. And, I mean, Georgia State just was never in this ball game. I guess they were 7-7. That was at halftime. Ted Hurst has had a great season. He caught a 20-yard touchdown pass from Christian Veyer. But it was all ODU early on in the second half. Tariq Sims, a 6-yard touchdown run towards the end of the third quarter. And then Houston with a 9-yard pass catch from Colton Joseph to make it 21-7. Freddie Brock gets a late touchdown pass from Zach Gibson in for Veyer. Makes it 21-14, but Georgia State just doesn't seem to be able to do much offensively at all. And so far this season, this is the kind of ball game that ODU has played so far throughout the year. So ODU with a win over Georgia State. Quickly, let's go over the standings. Remember, earlier in the week, JMU took care of, was it Troy? I think. No, it was Coastal. I'm sorry. JMU took care of Coastal Carolina. So in the West, and again, this is on sunbeltsports.org. I don't know why the Cajuns are on top of ULM. They should not be. Both teams are 5-1. ULM is 3-0 in the conference. The Cajuns are 2-0 in the conference. Texas State is 2-0 in the conference. They are 4-2 with that extra disappointing loss to Sam Houston. Arkansas State is 1-1 in the conference, 3-3 overall. South Alabama had the weekend off. They and Troy are actually playing the Battle of the Belt on Tuesday. It's been a minute since South Alabama has won in that series. Southern Miss is 0-2. Troy is 0-2. Out east, you do have Georgia Southern is 2-0. Huge showdown with James Madison coming up this week. James Madison 1-1, Coastal Carolina 1-1, Marshall 1-1, and for not having a great season, Old Dominion is 1-1. So they're right in it as well, because it'll be a logjam if JMU takes down Georgia Southern. So Georgia State is 0-2, and a tough year gets tougher. App State is 0-3. I do want to wrap up with a game management. When we talk about play calling all the time, not a big fan of the fade. It doesn't seem to be a high percentage play. Maybe if you have a specific matchup or you're doing a pick play, whatever the case is, I'm not a fan of that. Also not a fan of the throw from one hash to the far sideline. That's a pick six throw, so I would get rid of that. The other thing that bothers me is that sometimes these players do they not realize what's going on? Unfortunately, the worst example of that was Will Howard with Ohio State with 6 seconds left. Takes off, running. What are we doing? There's no second option with 6 seconds left. If the first option's not there, you throw it away. Why are you running football? What's he doing? You need hit time for a Hail Mary. Take a knee where you are and go down and call timeout. I mean, geez, these guys, I just don't think sometimes these guys get it. There are times where you do see players try to stay in bounds and they're pushed out, and that's a good job by the defense. But you also see, I could talk about the Syracuse guys, when they're trying to save time, why do they cut it back inside instead of cutting it outside? Why are they fighting for 2 more yards when the 30 more seconds is much more important? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't get it. So that's some of the game management that's still out there. I see that all the time. When there's 2 minutes left to go in the half or the game, and these guys think they're going to make a big play by making a big cut inside, although there's like 3 defenders right there. I just don't understand. I don't understand. So someone's got to explain that to me at all. I understand the idea of making a big play, but you've already caught the ball. You're surrounded an extra yard or two. Put it this way. That's not the time to fight for extra yardage. There's times when that is feasible, although I am always concerned about the ball popping out. That's not the time to do it. All right. That's the time to save time. Now, having said that, there are, game management issues towards the end of the ball game. Even the guys doing the Georgia Southern Marshall games, like, did Georgia Southern score too fast? Well, I didn't think so. I'm usually like that, but if they were inside the 20 or inside the 15, where you can take a little bit more time off the clock, that'd be one thing. All right. But they were not. So you got to score when you can score, and they got a one-on-one matchup down the right sideline, and Williams made a fantastic throw, and Burgess made a sensational catch. It was Williams the second throwing it to Burgess Jr. Is there a difference between that? Is that the same thing? Second and junior, isn't that the same thing? Anyway, I find that stuff interesting or fascinating. Anyway, and I think, the game management and making sure there's not time on the clock for the other team to do it. Obviously, that's easier when you need a field goal to win or tie, all right, compared to a touchdown where sometimes you can't screw around and you have to get the touchdown. Sometimes that is the case. All right, we are up to 1,550 subscribers. You guys were great. We'll see if we can continue doing the shorts and those reels. That's been a big help. I think we set another record. We're on pace to either equal or surpass the views for the month of October after we set a new record in September. So really appreciate it. Still going to try and get, and it's going to be close, going to still try and get that 2,000 subscribers by the end of 2024. So we need we're averaging about 100 a month. So that's going to fall short. We need to do a little bit better. All right. So please help me out. All right. It's a big help. If you ever see a video, share it, and please subscribe on YouTube. All right. It is a big help, and hopefully wanting to keep on doing this. And it's because of you. It's because of you guys watch it. And we're certainly getting more comments than we ever have. So I appreciate that as well. All right. We're going to preview Troy and South Alabama, the battle for the belt. That's coming up on Tuesday. All right, so we'll get into that very early in the week. Again, thanks so much for watching. I'm your host, Dave Schultz. You've been watching Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day.